Hello everyone, Lady J here again with yet another video. Listen, before I get started on my topic, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone. I know it's almost like the middle of January, can you believe it? And so I'm just coming out with a video, but here's the thing. I've decided this is going to be the year that I'm going to take my video more seriously, because the things that God has given me to speak about, like character standards, what have you, morals, what have you, that's really needed in today. We need as much light as we can possibly get. We need to get back to our original state that God has created for us, to be in touch with our spirits more so than the flesh. Because God had, I was reading Second Timothy 3. I suggest, you know what, I don't care if you don't read the Bible or not, I would suggest you read Second Timothy 3. First of all, it's going to stop a whole lot of this whole just random serial dating, because you're going to realize what it is that you're running up against and what you have invited in and why your life is in the state that it's in. That's going to stop a lot of that. But it reminded me, the first half of Second Timothy 3, 1 through 5 mostly spoke about the mindset and the behaviors and the spirit of men in today's society, in the last days, what have you. But you see it in today's society, just to let you know we're in the last days. When you get down to 6, it started to speak about the women, the state that they're in. And when you start to read this, one of the first things that came to me is the only way all of this can take place is if you're holding on to a whole lot of stuff. And if you're holding on to things, and that means you have a spirit of unforgiveness. And God only knows what demons are attached to that, what forces are attached to that. When he speaks of men would be traitors, they would be unthankful, they would be despisers of good. The despisers of good. Do you have any idea? We're going to go into that later, because Second Timothy 3 is like, you have to dissect the heck out of this one. But despisers of good, it didn't say that men were not just going to like good, when good things happen. They despise good. So when you're sitting up there like idiot offering your best and your goodness to them, they're looking at this as something to be destroyed. It's something that they don't understand. It's not a good thing to them. In order to get to that state, something went wrong. You've been holding on to a whole lot of darkness. And the same with the women. When you go down a little bit further, God speaks of this and he says, gullible women, loaded down with sin. He said loaded down. That's not one or two things are wrong. I have a little attitude. No, you're carrying a whole lot of demonic forces, dark things inside of you that's causing you to not be able to let go. So that's what made me started to think about forgiveness. And no judgment. Trust me, God whipped me really good with that scripture years ago. I mean, I had read that scripture, it's like I had to shut the Bible. I was so embarrassed that God knew how dysfunctional I really was. I didn't. But anyway, it's a story for another time. Getting back to forgiveness, I was reading Daniel 9:9, where Daniel was getting ready to pray for the people and what have you. Wanted, to God to intervene, but he wanted God to understand that he knew why things was happening to the children of Israel, whatever they had, abandoned God's ways or what have you. But I loved it because in Daniel 9:9, he said, forgiveness and mercy belongs to God. And I love that because it made me realize that forgiveness is a gift from God. It's a power. We already know the things of God are powerful. It's a powerful force, but it was a gift. Because what forgiveness does is it allows us to cut ourselves away from the darkness and the things that people have said to us, the things that have been done to us. We can cut ourselves away from that stuff. And when you cut yourself away from those things, other things have to fall off as well. This world will convince you it's okay to be out there and be in all these crazy relationships and chasing after this and chasing money, chasing everything else that's out there. And all of the time, over the years, all of these things are getting into you, spirits from other people, mindsets, bitterness, anger, frustration, all of these things, to the point where you can actually just go on autopilot and just shut down, and you just waking up every day just going out there, and now these dark forces that's inside of you, they're running you now. That's the beauty of forgiveness, is it gives you the opportunity to just stop for a moment. Start letting go of these things. Start letting go of the things that people have said to you, have done to you, things you've seen that have absolutely nothing to do with you, because you have to understand that in order for anything to live, it have to feed. That's the human body, that's insects, birds, that's powers, those are forces as well, and words as well. So if you walking around with unforgiveness in you, that means you have to wake up every day. When you wake up, unforgiveness is looking for things that are unforgivable. It has to feed. It has to stay within you and feed. So you walking around with years and years and years of trauma and drama and bitterness and everything else inside of you. Is not, we already know what it's doing to the human body, but what is it doing to the soul and the psyche? That's the beauty of the gift of forgiveness. You get to determine at this point what you do with yourself, what you do with that word. Um, Forgiveness puts you in the power position. When you learn to forgive people and let go of things, I'm gonna do a video on some of the ways that you can come about doing that. But when you learn to forgive people and let go of situations or whatever, because it's like taking off a coat. I have you running a race, like the Bible says, you running a race. You can't have all of this stuff on you and think you're gonna go far. It's just not going to happen. But it allows you to let things go. Let things go, because you got to understand things are coming at us every day. Turn on the news. You can barely even turn on your laptop and not be assaulted with all of the who died, who did this, who's wearing what clothes, and all kinds of stuff is assaulting your psyche, assaulting your spirit daily. So we have to learn how to start letting things go, because otherwise than that, you're going to find yourself that person that God is speaking of in Second Timothy, whether you be a man or whether you be a woman, because he's also letting you know that you're the one who's going to be dealing with all of the abuse and all of this, because you refuse to let go of things from the past that's piled up. So that's the beauty of that. Also, forgiveness is a way for you to show yourself mercy. Forget about waiting for somebody to show you mercy. You don't have to go to somebody and, forgive me, or I'm never gonna forgive. You don't even have to trip off all of that type of stuff. You cutting yourself loose, saying, I care enough about me to let all of this BS go. Because the person you could be frustrated with or mad at or holding on to stuff with, they could be already dead. So you can't sit around and wait for them to come and give you forgiveness. Forgiveness is something you give yourself, because you say, I love me enough. I have mercy on myself enough to let these things go so I can move forward in life. Because I have way too much value to be sitting up here wasting around with these unnecessary things. Let's go a little bit into unforgiveness. Unforgiveness it has its own. Don't get me wrong, it's a powerful force, because remember God said the power of sin. So we know that it has that. But I'm speaking of, when I say false power, unforgiveness will make you think that you're in control. I'm never going to forgive you for what you did. No one cares. You can go walk up to someone, I'm never going to forgive you. It's not going to stop them from eating what they want to eat. And it's not going to stop them from doing whatever their favorite sin is. They're going to live their life anyway. So unforgiveness gives you a sense of false power, like I'm in control. I control that person, because I'm never going to let them go. And people are going on about their business. And half the time, people don't even know what's wrong with you. It's a sense of false control, but one of the reasons it does that is because it's a gateway to darkness. It's a gateway to anger and frustration and murder. I mean, all kinds of dark forces come through not being able to yield. It's and that's one of the main things it does too, is it stops us from yielding. It's attached to pride. It's like, no, I'm not going to be the one to call first. I'm not going to be the one to do this. No, I would never, ever, ever. All of that is having a spirit that will not yield. That's a force right there. You know how many things can't get in that's good because you're not yielding? There, that is like the enemy at the gate. Yield is right there. It's the enemy at the gate, and it's not letting anything good in. If anything can get beyond our unforgiveness. It also, it blocks our sight. It allows us to see what it wants us to see, not what how things really are. That's how people can get to the point where they despise good, because you no longer see good as good. You can't. Let me give you an example. You have a friend, God's been friend forever. Now this third party comes in and they want to be friends with you. They just don't want to be friends with your friend. So what they do, they just put a little bug in your ear of, I'm not even sure how you guys even get along. She seems like she kind of jealous of you. So you sitting there thinking like, no, she ain't jealous of me. This is my girl. We've been friends. Da, 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 da. But now what happens is you're gonna start looking at her from your best friend. You're gonna start looking at her from the vision that somebody else has put into your head. Well, yeah, she do seem like to wear the same colors I wear, and she do kind of my. So now your vision has been distorted. What appeared to be um, friendship, or what appeared to be a compliment, now it's no, she's just straight up envying me. Every time I get a new car, she wants to get a new car, whatever. And the thing, so the point I'm making is unforgiveness. It messes with your sight. It messes with your vision. So now you're not seeing things from a healthy perspective. You're seeing things from whatever demon or whatever spirit has gotten inside of you, envy or whatever else. Unforgiveness, untrusting. I don't know if I trust her anymore. I'm just saying. Not even thinking about the other idiot that came and put these bugs in your head. But that just goes to show you the power of sin. So the point I'm making, and I'm going to cut this one short. The point I'm making is there is a lot of things that are taking place in the world, and it's only going to get worse because you read the Bible, 2 Timothy, where God said perilous times. He didn't just say some hard times are coming from time. He said perilous times are coming. You're going to need your mind, your soul, your spirit. You're going to need everything functioning from a perspective of clarity, spiritual clarity, or else you're just gonna get eaten alive out here in this world. Because this just those scriptures that I quoted, and go read it, 2 Timothy 3, 1-6. Those those incidents that I mentioned about, this is what's out there now. These mindsets, these zombie-like mindsets where people are just eating on each other, just feeding on each other. That's out there now. And you can either be a part of that, or you can start to clear out some things so you can get your vision back, so you won't be a part of that. Because it's not just regular everyday people you see. You got governments against you. You got people out there plotting things. And we still worried about some white man is this kind of person. That's child's play compared to what's taking place now. So unless you get yourself cleaned up with the word of God, you're gonna get eaten alive out here. You won't even know right from wrong, left from you won't know these things, because the Bible already let you know this. You will not be able to understand what you see, because you're not even seeing them through a clean spirit, a spirit of discernment. All of that stuff falls to the wayside. A spirit of understanding, a spirit of knowledge, all of that falls to the wayside. So long story short, I'm going to cut this short, because the next one I said we will go into some ways that we can get to the forgiveness stage. But one of the things I wanted to make mention of in Proverbs 13:21, it says that evil pursue sinners. Evil pursue sinners. So you need to understand, as long as you're allowing all of this darkness to stay inside of you, Evil is on that same frequency. It's on the same frequency as anger, hate, all of those negative, mistrust, all of these things. Evil pursue those because it's on the same frequency as that, same vibration. So a lot of things that are happening to you, it basically is just because of what's inside of you. So if no other reason, thank God that he invented and he's given us as a gift forgiveness, so we can start letting things go, so we can start clearing up our own vision, so we can start getting blessings again and not so much as curses and bad things happening to us. Trust me, I'm fully aware of that myself. I'm going to that another day. But anyway, I'm going to stop this right now, and I want you to give a thought to what I said and, get into the word. But this one has, like I said, get to the point where you decide, you know what, I need to learn how to forgive things. I need to let things go because I am overwhelmed. I am loaded down, and life is not getting any better for me. And the world is getting darker. It's getting more dangerous. It's getting perilous, like he said. We had a hurricane, a tsunami, or whatever. Who would have thought that would have happened? Somebody got hurt behind that. People are out here doing all kinds of things, but we can't see what's before our face half the time. So, with that being said, I want everyone to have a lovely day. I want you to give a thought to what I said. And my next video, like I said, I will go into some of the things that we can do to begin to unravel some of the darkness that's inside of us. So in the meantime, lovelies, I will see you soon. Bye-bye.